Okay, we got rained out on the pancake flip last year, and so I decided that we should try that again. I had bought the pancake batter and all the little cups, so I thought, well, I'm going to use them. Does anybody have any questions on it? I mean, is anybody that was not here last year that, like, you know, I didn't quite remember how to do that? I can tell you right now the most challenging part of this whole thing is going to be not flipping the pancake or getting the fire started. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be standing back about 75 feet away from the road, because we're going to be doing the fires in the road, just like we did over at the camporee. And I'm going to give each one of the Pathfinders that is standing in front of me one match. And when we say go, they're going to run back, and they're going to be with their group, and they're going to try and get that fire started. And if the match doesn't do the fire, they're going to run back up, and they're going to ask me for another match. And I'll give them one match. I'm not sure why, but I think perhaps you need to, as leaders, explain to the kids that they can't put 2-inch logs and try and get it started with a match. It doesn't work. So they have to use really, really small twigs. The thing about the pancake flip is it doesn't take a lot to get the pancake batter cooked. So you can have a lot of little twigs without having any major sticks at all in that fire, and you can get the pancake to cook. Go ahead.
So just to clarify, they need to collect the fire material on site, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Right. We're going to do it over there. They'll have a certain length of time to collect the material. It's not going to be open-ended, so they can bring, a bag and for an hour collect all these minuscule little things. But there'll be enough time for them to collect stuff as long as they know what to look for.
Right.
Because even my own group, my own grandchildren, they want to bring these sticks that are 1 inch thick, and it's like, that's never even going to get lit by the time the pancake flips. So you got to stick all the really, really small twigs together and get that to work. The one thing I can give you a hint for the pancake flip is you want to cook it really, really well on one side. And it doesn't take long to cook. But if you cook it like a normal pancakes, then you have to be really good at flipping it. If you overcook it, then you can pretty much flip it like a piece of cardboard. And the only requirement is that it ends up in one piece. So if it hits the edge of the pan, or if it hits on the ground, you have to start over with a new cup, not a new fire. You can keep the same fire. Go ahead.
So it says 1 to 4 Pathfinders. Can we have multiple teams then?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You can have as many as what the road allows us to have. So I would suggest a round bottom pan if you haven't already picked out a pan. I know that I talked to one leader, he said he's got such a wonderful pan that his wife commandeered it and not going to let him use it for the pancake flip anymore. A nice round bottom pan that's totally stick-free, a little bit of spray oil in it. Don't pour oil in it, because if you flip it and the oil gets on the Pathfinder, it's going to burn like crazy. So a little bit of spray, if you want to put any in there, that's fine. But you can use any kind of pan, it'll flip, but a round bottom pan works better. Okay, no other questions? Okay, now the slow bicycle, that we did it last maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and it was a learning experience because it was the very first time we ever did it. And I thought, in order for a kid to drive a bicycle slow, he'd have to keep moving. And there were 2 kids last time that proved me wrong. They sat at the starting line for like 3 minutes and never moved and never put their feet down. They just balanced there. It's like, okay. We're gonna do something a little different here. So I wrote in the directions this time, I said they have to keep moving. So it's going to be a slow bicycle, not a stop bicycle. You have to have 2 wheels, so you can't use a unicycle. You can't use training wheels, just 2 wheels. You also can use any size. You can use a 26, 28 inch, or a 20 inch, or a 16 inch. As long as you don't have tires that are like 3 inches wide. And then I had that asked last time, so I stuck in there that 2.75, I think, is the biggest you can have for the tires. And that's a standard tire. I mean, that's the biggest that any standard tire is. And again, we're going to run 2 heats on that. It'll be out on the basketball court right out here. As many people as we can put across, we'll run 2 heats. So if we want to bring 2 or 3 bicycles and have 4 or 5 kids do it, that's 6 kids, that's fine. But we're only going to run 2 heats. So we'll try and squeeze as many people in as possible. We work real stickly with the putting your foot down. It's basically supposed to be that you keep your feet on the pedals all the time, but you know, every once in a while somebody just loses their balance and they put the foot down, put it back up again. They can't put their foot down and then stand there for a while, then they'll be disqualified. If they also just sit on the bicycle, like I had the 2 of them last time, they'll be disqualified too, because the wheels always have to keep moving. So when you practice, make sure you practice a slow bicycle and not a stop bicycle. Any questions on that? Okay. The last one we haven't done for a while. Go ahead.
And they can sit or stand when they're on this, doesn't matter which.
I don't know what you're saying.
So they can sit or stand on this whole bicycle if they're standing. They have to be sitting, they have to be sitting.
Can they stand up?
Can they stand on the pedals?
As long as you stay on the pedals.
Yeah, I mean, they can stand on the pedals. As long as their feet aren't on the ground, that's fine.
Could you have like a special bike that can also go backwards?
They have to be moving forward. Doesn't it say forward? Driving forward? It says driving forward. Because I thought of that too, that they go back and forth. No, you can't do that.
It says you must be moving forward at all times.
Must be moving forward. So that's the requirement. And you can stand on the pedals if you want. One of the kids last time, that's what how they were balancing is they were standing. And they weren't ever sitting on the seat, and they were just able to sit there. It's like, oh, I'm amazed. So yeah, no, you can stand on the pedal, you can sit on the seat or not. We haven't done the stilts for a while, but it's an event that's really fun. I mean, the kids really got into it. Back when I was a Pathfinder director, they actually had a team that did marching with stilts as a special drill. The year that they did the stilt relay, because they liked it so much they wanted to march on it. So they did all the marching on stilts. I thought that was really creative. It's a 20 or 25 feet? 25 feet. Okay, so what they're going to do is they're going to start on a line that'll be a row. They're going to march on the stilts. When they start, they can have 1 foot on the stilt, 1 foot on the ground, and then they have to mount the stilt. So the first person has to be able to get up on the stilts. Now, I don't think you'd want all the kids to get up on the stilts because if they fall down, they have to be able to get back up on it. But you want to make sure that they can get up on it, the very first one, because 1 foot can be on the stilt. They can't be standing with both feet on the stilts. So part of it is when I say go, they get up on the stilt and then they start. They go down 25 feet, there'll be a cone 25 feet away, and they have to be able to walk around the cone. They can't step over it, they have to go around it. So the timekeeper will be watching that particular thing, is making sure they go around it. Because in the past, sometimes kids get really excited and they just kind of march up to it and then they turn around and they march right back. They've got to march around the cone. If they fall down on the stilts, they can start right there. They do not have to start over at the line. And I've had that problem conveying to the kids, I guess, or the leaders or somebody, but even this last time when they were doing the Norwegian waddle, they were trying to start over and carry the thing back to the start line. But no, if you fall down, you just start right there. So that's okay. And the next person that's up can be standing on the stilts. So they can be standing there waiting for the person that's crossing the line. As soon as they're across the line, they don't have to tag them, they don't do any of that. As soon as both stilts are across the line, the person that's now standing for the next relay can go. Now, this is a really slow event or a really fast event, depending on how much you practice. I don't know how many of you remember Derek Elmer. He had a set of stilts that he could convey. He got those things going so fast that I think it was like about 4 or 5 seconds up to the 25 foot and about 4 or 5 seconds back. I mean, he completed that whole relay in like 10 seconds. So, he did. I am going to tell you 3 different ways that you can work the stilts. I brought a pair so that you guys can actually see what they look like. You can use round poles, like I think they're called closet poles. It's a little easier on the hands, or you can sand them, or you can machine them down. What's it called when you route them? You can route them down, you can route the corners off, that's fine. The important part about the stilt is this part has to be 18 inches up. It has to be 18 inches off the ground. You also, did I say that you could put a little piece of wood on the edge?
Yes.
I think I did, yeah. You can't put a strap on there because it's too dangerous for if the kid falls down. But you can put a little piece of wood here to keep the kid from sliding his foot off. I'm not sure how helpful that is. You might try it both ways. It might be that it doesn't really make any difference. It might get in the way. I don't know.
So generally, when I always tell kids to put their arms in front like this, the way I always did it. And then you kind of stand up this way. So at least that's the way I've always found it easiest to do it.
Okay, so now this is one way of doing it. You can also bend your elbows more so that it's like they're more underneath your armpits, kind of thing like
I don't
that.
know if I can do that. So.
You can also do it from the front. I can't even get up on it. But you can actually hold them in front and walk like that.
This is tougher.
People who run do it like that.
That's right, and that's what Derek did. He had him actually extended.
Yeah.
He was holding him out here, and he was taking like 10 feet at a step.
I don't run stilts.
So you can practice a lot of different ways. There isn't any rule about how you're going to do it. The only real requirement about the stilt is it has to be 18 inches off the ground. Best not to come with ends all splintered. I mean, like if you practice, you might want to use some new or tape the bottom or something, because we're going to be doing it on the grass. And if the end is all mushroomed out, it's going to be harder because it's going to be like into the grass and dragging in the soil. So a nice firm edge is the best way for that.
I do want to say, in my history in the past, watch these boards right here, and you can see this one's actually starting to split. Because I did have a kid, as they were practicing or whatever, basically it split and ripped down. I think it like scratched up his leg really bad, no stitches or anything, but it could be dangerous if while you're walking, this thing shears away and your foot drops. So be careful. Like I said, you can start to see this one cracking, but keep a close eye on this part right here.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of directions for you as far as what those are. 2x6 probably work the best because there's the most support. I don't know.
Just Jimmy saying back here, if you glue the block as well as screw it, it takes some of the strain off the screw.
Okay, and that would probably be fine. Using wood glue and then screwing it on too. Jody?
The Wausau Club has wrapped theirs in duct tape to prevent splinters, is that right?
That would be fine too. Okay.
If it would happen to rain and you want to move that indoors, could we put rubber feet at the bottom? If we have to be on the cement floor, it's slippery.
Yeah, we actually haven't done it. It hasn't been outside. We haven't done it on the concrete.
Okay. That could be a hard call.
I'm sure that's exactly like we could do it in here because it's carpet.
Not to worry.
Okay, any other question? Just to make sure the kids practice turning around the corner. Because it's interesting, kids can walk really fast in a straight line, then you tell them to turn and they go, whoa, and it's like real tough. And they have to go around the cone. So you have to be able to turn the thing around and go the other direction.
I always found it was helpful to make plenty of, basically I just took a 2x4, split it down the middle with my table saw, and then put feet on it. If you can make enough, send them home with kids will practice on their own, and you really don't need to take much class time because they have fun doing it at home, and you really don't need to worry about it in class.
Yeah, it's amazing how good they get. I'm really shocked at some of the talent. They do it really well. So don't underestimate. You might have 4 or 5 teams if you have enough kids. You let them all do it. Any other questions? I do have the directions on the back, one of the pages, so if you forget what they're supposed to be. There is not a rule of how tall it's supposed to be. It should be, they should be tall enough so that they're supported by more than just the hands. When you saw Glenn, he had it under his arms or he had it on the inside of his arms. It does work better if you have it so that it's supported by more than just your hands. Okay? Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Steve.